In this video, I'm going to show you a really cool website that can accelerate your online presence. So if you're someone who's looking to start your own website, your own blog, your own YouTube channel, become an influencer on social media, then watch this video because I'm going to show you a website that can really help you out. I've been making money online since around 2014, and I've visited this site quite often when I'm starting up new projects, new businesses, to make sure I could get the domain, the website, in other words, and make sure all, or at least most, of the social media channels are still available. So what Namechckr, which is the site we're going to discuss, and it's important to note when you search for it, leave out that last E in checker. Okay, so it's Namechckr. So leave out that last E.com. That's how you find this website. And what this website helps us out with is seeing what's still available in terms of websites, whether or not the .com is still available, or what types of social media have already been taken and are not available or still are available. So a little tip is to try to come up with a name, your brand that hasn't been taken, doesn't have a website that's already been bought or somebody's already using, and make sure it's available on most of those social media outlets. So let's use an example. So, and it's so easy to use. This website Namechckr is. It's pretty self-explanatory. So say if you were considering starting a homesteading channel, homestead, living off the land, self-sufficiency, self-reliant lifestyle is very popular these days. So say if you were really into homesteading and want to start your own homestead channel, you type in, so think about, all right, if I was to start a website, a YouTube channel about homesteading, what are some good names? Now that's going to be another video on how to name your website and name your channel. But what you want to think about is a combination of clarity and kind of cleverness, something that kind of flows, something that kind of rolls off the tongue, but you do kind of want to, in most instances, know by the title alone what your website, your channel is about. So say if I was doing a homesteading channel or wanted to start my own homesteading website and blog, what could I name it? So the purpose of this particular channel, for example, would be to give tips or advice on how to develop your own homestead, how to live off the land, raise your own food, etc. So, okay, what about homestead tips? So I'll type in homestead tips, hits the search button there, or hit enter. And as Namechckr shows you, so the .com is unavailable. Somebody already has the website homesteadtips.com. But .net, as you see right here, is available. Now, most .coms, and I mentioned this in a previous video, I love coming up with names and witty ideas and for blogs and websites. Then my heart is broke when I find out that I'm not the only clever one in this world. Somebody already beat me to it. So homestead tips is pretty self-explanatory, but as you see, you can't get that website, homesteadtips.com. It's not available on Facebook or Twitter. On YouTube, looks like it is. Now, I think YouTube, you can have multiple channel names, or there can be multiple channels owned by different people that has the same name. I could be wrong about that. I think YouTube allows multiple channels to be named the same thing, owned by different people. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below. So if you're trying to get everything meaning your website, your YouTube channel, your Twitter account, your Facebook account, all the same name, then this wouldn't be a good name to do. So then you start thinking, okay, what am I trying to get across? What's another name for tips? Or what can I name it instead of Homestead Tips, since that's already taken? Well, tips, and then I started thinking of other synonyms. Homestead advice, homestead hints. I kind of like hints. Hints kind of flows pretty good, rolls off the tongue. Homestead hints. Let's see if that's available. I hit enter. Namechckr checks it for me. Now we're getting a little better as far as social media goes. A lot of those social media outlets are still available, but the .com, .net isn't. So far we've seen we've seen Homestead Tips, which you could still, if you're okay having your website be called homesteadtips.net instead of .com, that's a huge advantage. Now, Homestead Hints has probably more social media available because you got the Facebook available, you got Twitter available, again, YouTube channel is available, but it doesn't look like two of the most common websites that you want to get, domains, the .com and .net, aren't available. So that's your decision. In my opinion, I think you should have your own website. Don't just rely on social media, because these social media things could fade out, believe it or not. You see new ones coming along all the time. So there could be a day and age where Facebook isn't that popular, and that's not the best way to reach your customers if you're trying to start an online business. So I would highly recommend preferring websites over social media. So in this case, this probably wouldn't be too good because you can't get the .com or .net with the domains, even though there's plenty of social media channels you could put your this name Homestead Hints on. Okay, so then you start brainstorming, and then to me it's fun, right? It gets disappointing because you'll come across, you think of this great name that could be branded that you think's got a lot of potential, and you get so excited, then you go here to Namechckr and come to find out not everything's available or hardly anything's available. So I'm curious. Homestead Home, that's got a great ring to it. I can make that into a wonderful brand, I think. But look at that. Like I mentioned before, I'm not the only genius in this world. Somebody else thought of that, and they have swooped up pretty much all channels, except MySpace. Is MySpace still around? So Homestead Home, while it's got a nice ring, while it's pretty self-explanatory, it's been taken. So now we go back to the drawing board. Okay, we tried Homestead Home, we've tried Homestead Tips, Homestead Hints. What if we did Homestead Hints and Tips? Put both of those together. Okay, bingo, there we go. Now, the only thing, and I have a big gripe about this because I've come up with some really good Twitter handles, and they always come up one short, or not one short. I go one letter over because I think you're limited to like 15 characters in Twitter, in the Twitter universe. So what you want to think about if you like the sound of Homestead Hints and Tips, that's a lot of potential to me. You just got to be cool with changing your Twitter name or not even be on Twitter. If you're not that interested in being on Twitter, have a Twitter presence, then you're fine, because look, you got the .com, you got the Facebook, you can get your own YouTube channel called Homestead Hints and Tips. You can be on Pinterest. There's just so much potential here, as long as you're cool with not being on Twitter. If you do want to be on Twitter, you just change it up a little bit. Maybe what if we just erase the P? And see, this is what I'm saying with Twitter. Homesteader Hints and TI, or I don't know. You just fool around with it. See, that Twitter frustrates me. Homestead. You just have to play around and get your Twitter name. Homestead Hints. There we go. So even though you couldn't have Homestead Hints and Tips because it's too long, you can have it on every other outlet. So you get your domain name, Homestead Hints and Tips, and you lock down, you get the names to all these that are available. And on Twitter, if you want to be on Twitter, just call your Twitter handle Homestead Hints because it fits Twitter's rules. So if you were into homesteading, if you were thinking about having an online presence, if you wanted to have your own website, if you wanted to have your own YouTube channel, your own blog, your own social media where you can be an influencer, whether on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Now, the one thing for some reason that Namechckr doesn't have for some reason is Instagram. But you could go on Instagram and check out the names separately, individually, to see if those names are still available. So if you use Namechckr, I think it's a wonderful one-stop shop to show you whether or not the website that you're thinking about creating, the social media channels that you want to be on, the platforms that you want to be on, see if they're still available. It's great. In this case, we took, 10, 15 minutes to find a website, social media channels that represent what our purpose is, what we want to accomplish. In this case, if I'm really into homesteading and I have some knowledge and experience and I want to share it with the whole entire world, all the hints and tips that I've accumulated over the years, we, thanks to Namechckr, in the span of 10 to 15 minutes, found an online presence. And we're going to call it Homestead Hints and Tips. And every week, every month, you'd be creating good content to share with the world so people can learn from you and you can help them out. And thereby, sharing your knowledge and expertise, you're going to start making some money. You're going to start making some income. And that's what we want to do. We want to show you how to rock your income by living life on your own terms and sharing your knowledge and expertise of the things that you're good at, what you're interested in, or the things that you want to learn. And Namechckr could really help you speed up that process by seeing what's available, the starting point based on names, based on your platforms that you want to be on, based on the brands that you want to create. This can really help you out, and you can start from here, nail down these names, lock them down so nobody else could get them, go out and buy those domains, which I'll show you how to do in a separate video, and start building your online presence and thereby building your income, thereby reaching financial independence and living life on your own terms to be your own boss. It's a beautiful thing.